All right, so the video I'm about to share with you is something from one of our coaching sessions, and it's all about niching down. So if you've ever felt compelled to niche down, you got to know that you're not alone. So I always figured that at some point in my agency life, I was going to grow up and pick a niche. Honestly, that never happened, but I still figured out how to scale to the point where now my agency runs without me. So if you're considering niching down or just feeling that pressure from others that that's the right thing to do, in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what to do instead. So let's take a look. I always kind of thought that when I grew up in my agency that we'd somehow find the industry, the type of company that would be boom, we're just doing whatever. Boom, we're going to be orthodontist marketers, or boom, we're going to be real estate marketers, or that kind of thing. But I was never oh my gosh, I love realtors so much. They're I understand them. I want to be with them. I want to help solve all their problems. And that passion and excitement for the people that you're working with is important because inevitably you get stuck. You need that passion to overcome those challenges. And so in the example of us trying to overcome with mortgage brokers, I actually went to the local bookstore and I bought the mortgage broker books for dummies, because I was just trying to figure out what do these guys think about, what is it all about, just because I had no background in that. And when I bought that and I started kind of thumbing through the book, that's when it really hit me. I was these guys are great and they're necessary and they're needed, but I don't have this major passion for mortgage brokers and the lending industry. What am I doing? I'm building a whole company around this whole thing. Just what am I doing it for? Doing it for the money. Just doing it for the money by itself, not for the thought that I cared about it. And so it was kind of an eye-opening thing for me because I always just kind of was puzzled and wondered why when I'd see other agencies kind of start to focus in on a certain industry. There was a local competitor that used to do lots of different things, and then they started doing everything for storage facilities. They became the storage facility marketing and website design company. I'm that's fascinating. Again, another category of things. I never identify with the plight of the storage business owner, but there was an opportunity there. So the way I look at it is we talk about the idea of snowflake projects, right? So snowflake projects are projects that are very detailed, different. Every project that you have is a little bit, has nuances to it, which makes it really hard to delegate and build systems and processes around them. It's hard to scale that. The niching down that I took and we've taken inside of our agency is rather than going super deep into lots of different snowflake projects, we kind of narrow down the amount of the depth in which we actually provide those services. So as an example, rather than doing a lot of lead generation advertising, which is a pretty complex process to do for lots of different industries, because there's a lot of iterations you've got to go through. You've got to do a lot of testing, and you've got to spend a lot of money on ads to continually make that thing work. We went into more of the awareness-based advertising, and we could charge less for that. Lead generation is a bigger, higher ticket item compared to just doing general Facebook awareness kind of ads. And so rather than going super deep into an industry, we kind of our services have been intentionally more surface level, more shallow, so that way they would apply to a lot of different industries, and we can create systems and processes around that. When you go to the dentist, they tell you to do two things when you leave, right? They tell you to brush your teeth and floss. And if you do those two things, it's reasonable to expect that the next time you come to the dentist, that there's really not going to be any major issues or cavities and things like that, right? Reasonable to expect. The thing is that most businesses, especially a lot of locally owned businesses, they're not doing what I would say is the equivalent of brushing their teeth and flossing, right? The very basic things around marketing. So what are those things? They're not taking care of their reputation. They're not having a website that is, say, mobile friendly and just says what it is they do and looks professional. They're not running awareness ads, right? They're not doing very basic, just if somebody comes to your website that's a potential buyer, why don't we just retarget them and get back in front of them because they're in the buying process? It's a very simple brush teeth, floss kind of strategy that doesn't require a lot of strategy behind it, that it's just good common sense that they should be doing it. And so the way that I look at our agency is that we can work with lots of different types of businesses because we're offering them common sense marketing strategies that are universally applicable, that in reality they should be doing those things first before they do any sort of more complex thing. And if you wanted to niche down into like a specific industry, that's the same is still true, because most dentists, most attorneys, most realtors, most mortgage brokers, they're not doing the basics, right? They should be doing these basics first and then layering on these like whiz bang strategies, these more snowflakey type things, if they want to go that direction. Like, there's no sense in doing a ton of lead generation for a company that's got a terrible reputation. Like, there's just not. Like, it's gonna compete. It's gonna impact them.